We're going to be moving into a concept in math that ties into something we learned about last year, but takes it a next step, and that's relationships of numbers. So I just have this PowerPoint, and we'll be going through that, and so you can understand what that means. It's just a very intro lesson to this whole unit. So we have relationships. Here's some examples of relationships. Aw, the little otters, the penguins. I don't know what that is. Oh. Oh, we're not talking about relationships between people or animals or things. We're going to be talking about relationships between numbers. So, for example, you work at the pizza place, you're going to earn some money. So, how is that related? So, let's talk about that. Oh, the hours worked yields to money earned. So, hours worked, money earned. There's a relationship. The more hours you work, the more money you earn. 0 hours, 0 money. 1 hour, $4. 2 hours, $8. 5 hours, $20. The relationship is number of hours worked leads to a certain amount earned. Okay? And the amount earned depends on the number of hours worked. Another relationship, the exercise, miles jogged to calories burned. So miles to calories. 0 miles, 0 calories. 1 mile, 100 calories. 2 miles, 200 calories. 5 miles, 500 calories. So the more miles jogged, the more miles the calories burned, and calories depends on miles. So there's a relationship there. The number of miles driven, the gallons of gas used or left. I'm not sure which one this is. 0 miles, 12 gallons. So 0 miles, you start with 12 gallons in the gas tank. So this is number of gallons left in the tank. 2 miles, there's 11.9 gallons left in the gas tank. After 10 miles, there is 11.5 gallons left in the gas tank. After 50 miles, there is 9.5 gallons of gas left in the gas tank. So the relationship between how much gas is in the gas tank and how many miles you've driven. So again, the amount of gallons in the gas tank depends on how many miles have been driven. So that's the relationship. Heat. How hot is it outside? How many megawatts are used in a system? Talking about electrical, like the whole region-wide electric system. So 70 degrees, 200 megawatts being used or on the system. 80 degrees, 210 megawatts on the system. 90 degrees, 240 megawatts on the system. 100 degrees, 320 megawatts. So how hot it is outside determines how many megawatts being used in general. So the megawatts depends on how hot it is outside. So that is a relationship. Years and value of a car. Another relationship. So in 0 years, the value of the car is $9,000. It's brand new off the lot. After 1 year, it's worth $6,500. 5 years, it's worth $4,000. 20 years, it's worth $1,500. So the number of years, the age of the car, it determines the value of the car. And of course, cars can be different depending on the car and everything else, but the value depends on how old it is. So we've talked about relationships, and in all of these relationships, what are relationships made of? Okay. Conversation, time together, time spent together, notes, gifts, inside jokes. Oh, no, wait, not those kind of relationships, but what are numerical relationships made of? And that is the big idea. This is a big question, and you will need to know this question, and you will need to know the answer to this. Okay. So, again, some hints. When I had these situations, 0 is 9,000, 1 is 6,500, 5 is 4,000. In every single relationship, we had numbers. In fact, more specifically, we had pairs of numbers. Relationships are made of pairs of numbers. And that statement right there is one of the what we call magic sentences. So in Get More Math, you will practice this a bunch, but they will be fill in the blank. So this is one of the magic fill in the blank sentences. If you know this statement, then when you get the questions, you'll know which words are missing. Relationships are made of pairs of numbers. Writing these magic sentences down is super important. They will be on the notes that I include with this, so you should probably try to copy it down so that you don't have to keep going back and trying to find it in Google Classroom. So the big question. So the big question about relationships, the big questions about what we're going to be talking about, the big question about this whole concept, it boils down to this. It's looking at change. So big question, as one number increases, hours, miles, the miles driven in the car, what happens to the other number? That is the big question. This is another magic sentence. As one number increases in the relationship, what's happening to the other number? So hours increased, the dollars increased. As the miles of exercise, of jogging increased, the number of calories burned increased. As the miles driven increased, the amount of gas in the tank decreased. As one number increases, what happens to the other number? So the other big question, that is the big question. And we're going to be studying that in many different ways. This is a big unit and it's a big idea, and you're really going to need to know the concepts that are taught in this. Okay, so as hours increases, what happens to the dollars? As miles increase, what happens to the calories? As miles increase, what happens to the gallons in the tank? So one number increases, what happens to the other? That is a big idea. There's two varieties that we have seen here. One is as one number increases, the other number increases. Okay, so the more hours, the more money. The more miles jogged, the more calories. Okay. So as each one is increasing, the other one is increasing. Okay, the other type of problem is the more of the one value, the less of the other. So the more miles you drive, what happens to the gallon of gas, the gallons of gas in the gas tank? The more miles you drive, the less gas there is in the gas tank, more, less. Okay, so those are two main types of relationships. As one increases, the other increases, or as one increases, the other decreases. Okay, so miles to calories, which one would that be? That a more or more less? That goes on the more side. That's right, because it's more jogging, the more calories burned. The years, the age of the car, and the value of the car. More or more less? Right, so it's more or less. The more years it has, the less the value. Degrees, megawatts. The higher the temperature, the higher the degree, yes, it's a more. Okay, so in sentence form, hours to dollars is hours increase, dollars increase. As miles increase, gallons decrease. Okay, so let's think of two relationships. Okay. More or less. As something increases, the other increases. As something increases, the other decreases. Okay, so just another way. Just again, thinking about that relationship and how we express that relationship. Okay, so what is the main topic of algebra? Relationships. What is the main topic of algebra? Relationships. We've already been talking about that. Even in some of the stuff we've been doing, similar triangles, there's relationships between numbers there. Okay, so main topic of algebra, relationships. What are relationships made of? Pairs of numbers. Relationships are made of pairs of numbers. And the big idea or the big question, as one variable increases, what happens to the other one? As one variable increases, what happens to the other one? Give an example of a more relationship. The more work you do, the more points you have on your grade. That would be a good one. Okay, this is hours increase, wages increase. Went back to that one. Give an example of a more or less relationship. Okay, as miles increase, gas remaining decreases. Yes.